So basically, they're trying to pass a new law that would you can be suspended up to a year just for being arrested on the subway. And I don't want to get into this the legal details of it, but what the protesters and led by Harriet Dreams are against is that every time there is an expansion of police power, there's an expansion of police abuse of that power. And when you can get arrested and not have due process, then anyone is subject to arrest at the police whim. And we've seen that before in other cases. But I think we could cue that clip.
We are here to oppose the WMATA vote that will criminalize people that have been arrested on metros and buses. So basically this vote, if you are arrested, you won't be able to ride for 12 months. We know that's an environmental justice issue. It's a racial justice issue. It's a class issue. People rely on the metros and public transportation to get to school, doctor's appointments, work, and this will disproportionately affect low-income Black and brown communities. So we're out here to say no to that.
I want to make sure I heard you correctly. Just arrested?
Yep. There's no due process. There's no trying to prove your case, nothing.
We're handing out the brochures to passengers.
Our objective is basically to let all of the Metro riders in the city know about this ban that's about to go into effect if on Thursday the WMATA Board of Directors chooses to pass this vote without any civilian intervention.
Essentially criminalizing being on the metro, using public transit, and we're telling them to vote no.
That vote is on Thursday, potentially?
Yes, indeed. It's been pushed back once, and maybe we can get them to completely kill this but if it doesn't get killed, it's on Thursday. Folks A did not know about it, and when they did find out about it, they were furious. Why were they furious? Because everyone knows cops don't help us. All they're gonna do is and we know, and WMATA knows who they're gonna with. It's going to be Black people, it's going to be unhoused people, and basically the police are there to make sure that basic survival is not possible.
Be clear, it's not a conviction, it's just an arrest.
Just an arrest, right? Like we have due process, right? Theoretically, that's not just for rich people. So all of us people who may have negative encounters with the cops in any way, shape, or form, you lose your due process.
So just simply an arrest. Not being convicted of anything, you lose your due process and you lose your ability to ride the metro. Help us. And is that Thursday date today? Is today the day they're supposed to vote on this?
Well, here's the good news. Everyone did flood the phone lines yesterday, as was asked by Harriet's Dreams, that was on the brochure, and that vote has now been postponed because of that action. So it's pushed back. It's not a win yet, but it's a delay, and we'll take the delay. We'll take the delay. Can we just very good local action, and this is what's been going on in D.C. But yes, you know the language is very vague. So when you use vague language like guns-related charge, weapons-related charge. Things like that can be abused, and we've seen that abused. And let me give you an example from the protest that could maybe be used in any variety. When I was covering protests, there was an assault on a police officer charge when someone shot fireworks and it happened to be by an officer or grazed an officer. And anyone in the vicinity could have been charged and was charged with an assault on police officer charge. They may not have even shot the fireworks. So this is one example of the backdrop of what a lot of the protesters know about the D.C. police and their abuse of laws. And if your language is vague and if you do not have due process, they know that expansion of police power will just be more police abuse. And that's really what this is about, and getting in the community and fighting back.
I love it. I love the fact that there was, while it's not a victory, it is definitely a step in the right direction, in solidarity with everyone who called in, because that doesn't just happen.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, there was a Zoom meeting, and about at least 50 people left messages saying, no, I live in Ward 4. I don't want this. And what happened when Harriet's Dreams, just to give you backdrop, when earlier in the week, they polled over 170 people on the metro and talked to them, and they found out that over 80% had no idea this law was even going to be passed. So they put in some legwork.
Wow. That That the fact that they would try to do that without people even knowing about it is not surprising, but it is something that I think every city needs to be cognizant of. These folks are not playing games with us. They are most certainly trying to snatch our rights away. And if nothing else, the effect of this is the chilling effect. We talk about it all the time. They will put out a law or a proposed law just to intimidate people to stop them from protesting. And I think that if nothing else, that's what this is.
That's exactly what this is. I see when I first heard of it, like, I thought simply this is going to be something that really affects people who take the train, system primarily for work or whatever. And especially those who are out there doing the activism work and things like that. If you're arrested one time, regardless of what the reason may be, the fact that you won't be able to take the train to me is weird. Like, they're punishing you, like, because they're afraid of you, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm telling you, this is literally something that is to attack Black and brown folks specifically. And that's why I got the problem with it. Like, these people are moving into these areas or moving into this place and causing these kind of stupid like laws to be put in place or, you know, to happen right under the nose of people while people are doing work, right? But people are fighting for real causes. They're like, yeah, we don't want these people on the train with us. Just because you're afraid, like, I don't understand. Like, I don't get how that gives you the right to tell somebody they can't get on the train because you scared. How did that even come to play? Who went up there and had that conversation and thought that was okay? It's all dumb, but thankfully, we have people who are on the ground. And I know sometimes it feels like things aren't working, but this is a primary example. I know it's a delay, but a delay can lead to a win. A win being this thing gets thrown out and not even considered. And that's what we're hoping for. And that's all because people flooded those lines and they voiced their concerns. And I think that's amazing. Yeah.
Chuck, I want you to get the last word. But Rebecca, you said something. Do we know where this came from in the first place? Answer that for us if you can, and then give us the last word.
I don't know. I don't know the inception of the law. I do know people have said it would also be used against the unhoused to clean up the metro. We've heard that as well. And that's a huge concern.
When they make those kind of laws and things like that and put those in place and saying, even if you're arrested, and we know a lot of people are getting arrested just for protesting, just for walking, just for any little thing, right? And if you get arrested, you can't ride the train. The train system is a lot of times the only way people can get around. So this all has to do with gentrification.
Brother, I mean, that's exactly right. And the more DC turns white because the rents are just through the roof, the developers are just making everything unaffordable. What happens is the laws start to change to protect white property. And we keep seeing that. White property over Black lives keeps happening in DC. It's actually, I believe, it's crossed over 50% white, 55%. You see these laws like the Noise Act. Well, who's the Noise Act again? Well, that's against go-go music, which is part of the soul of D.C. And so you have people calling the police because they're hearing go-go music. So they are trying to rip the soul and culture out of D.C. and then criminalize that very culture. And everything we see is a part of that, whether it's the Noise Act, whether it's the murder of Antoine Gilmore, whether it's the new subway laws, whether it was the Nelly's protests that went on for weeks. They're all tied to gentrification, and that's a larger discussion. It's a more complex discussion.